Welcome, everybody, to the RnR Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. All right, welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thanks for joining us on a national championship edition of the RnR Catcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Foley. I'm joined with my good host, my good buddy, Ryan Thornburg, and Zach Levere. We're part of the RnR, the Montana State affiliate of the Big Sky Podcast Network. And I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Bobcat Collective. If you are passionate about supporting Bobcat athletes, visit bobcatcollective.com today to learn more and sign up to be a member for as low as $25 a month. Membership not only supports Montana State student athletes, but also provides great perks for members, including exclusive access to events, behind the scenes content, and more. For businesses, we also offer corporate sponsorships, providing a unique way to promote and brand through the power of the athlete and the collective. Join us in making an impact in elevating the Bobcat community. Go to www.bobcatcollective.com today. Thorny, Zach, how we doing, fellas?
That was on the lower end of one of your intros, but we made it. And I don't think you're ever going to, that's the best you're going to do at this point. So you struggled through that. We're here. I'm doing great, man. This is our national championship episode. Doing fantastic. How you doing, Zach?
I could not be doing better. It's all coming up, Bobcats, boys.
Ah, yes, it is all coming up, Bobcats. TM.
Well,
TM. Yes.
I hope you guys had a great Christmas. We punted this episode down the road because there's a lot to talk about now. It feels a little bit more evergreen coming in this Monday than last Monday. Thorny and I got on the mics and then we said, you know what? We're just going to not record because we just break down the South Dakota game. And we'll talk about that a little bit today. But that was really the only news. We knew we were going to the national championship, but there was a whole mess of stuff that happened between last Monday and this Monday. Whole coaching search, Vegan Watch 18.0, thousands of text messages, wild speculation. It was a week, fellas, and we're here.
I saw Tommy Watt photoshopped into a Cougar jersey at one point the last 7 days.
Too.
I was like, what is happening?
Oh, man.
And in the end, the only thing that happened is Gold Rush next year got crappier.
I'll tell you what, I would wake up in the morning and be like, okay, check my phone, see if Thorny texted me, Zach texted me, anybody related to the Bobcats texted me, would log on to Bobcat Nation, would log on to Egriz. I was checking everything I could to find out any information about this ongoing search. I was texting everybody I knew, including you guys. Nobody had any solid information. There's probably about 20 different stories I was hearing. I still don't know what's true. All I do know is Coach Vegan is staying.
That deserves a hell yeah. Hell yeah, Coach. Got extension. Big old extension. That's in the news part, or we can talk about it now. It doesn't matter, but hey, Coach got an extension.
Let it out of the bag. There you go, buddy. Yep.
Is that burying the lead? Is that what they say? Is that what that means? I don't really know what that means.
I think the lead is that we're going back to Frisco. But yeah, the news part there is Coach Vegan signed a 4-year deal. Base salary $295, can earn up to what, Zach, $700K if he gets it all.
Victor Flores said something close to 800.
Yeah, I think it's closer to 8. He also said there's no way.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at to see what's in there, but I mean, I'm sure he'll easily clear 5.
Yeah, he's doing that already this year, I would assume. So that's a pretty big money bag. I kind of laugh at it a little bit. I was telling you earlier today, I hate to say the word pathetic, but it kind of does feel just a little bit pathetic that we can't spend more money on our head coaches in the state of Montana. Is this a FCS thing? Is this a Big Sky thing? Is this a Montana thing?
I mean, he got a pretty big pay bump from his last extension last year. But yes, I understand what you're saying.
I still think he's underpaid. I think all three of us would agree he's
that's
for what he does.
That's the crux of what I think Foley's saying is like we got to get some more money for our head coaches, especially talented, successful, proven head coaches that have been here. And he's been in the national championship now twice in 4 years, which is crazy.
How wild is it, too, that WSU has tried to poach our men's basketball coach and our football coach in the
Suck
same
it,
year?
Cougs.
And we, like, when you guys were in school,
I know where that's coming from, Thorny.
Yeah, I got a little bit of extra
Yeah.
vitriol towards the Cougs at the moment.
As a Husky fan, I support this. But okay, I transport, you go back in time to 2003, you guys, and you go, the Montana State jobs might be more attractive than the Washington State jobs. And then you just vanish. Like, what happened in 2024?
Yeah, it's interesting to think that Washington State was also just really focusing on FCS coaches, because there were some ex-Cougs in the FBS ranks that I thought would be great hires. I think the Cougs should have hired a Coug, or maybe targeted one or two, but they were going solely after what we heard, Coach Vegan, NDSU, and then obviously Jimmy Rogers, who is a guy I mentioned early on in this. Like, why not target that guy? Why isn't his name coming up on the list that we're seeing?
You did say that.
Coach Vegan at the very top, then Jeff Choate, and then blah, blah, blah. After that, it's like, how about the guy that just won 2 national championships and is 37 and up and coming? No one's interested in this guy. And obviously he's the guy that gets hired. I was like, see, told you so. It's just, and Zach, you're like, nope, this guy's
I thought he was a lifer. He had been there for 20 plus years.
Man.
This is very interesting. South Dakota State fans are kind of having a bit of a realization of what the new landscape is, because they had Stiegelmeier for 20, 30 years, however long the guy was head coach for.
24 years.
So the very next head coach they have is just 2 years. He's an SDSU guy. He's a lifer. He's Danny Sprinkle. He's gone. They're making the realization that, okay, Stiegelmeier was a unicorn. That's not going to happen again.
And now we're learning Vegan is somewhat of a unicorn for us.
At least he's going to stay for a little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
at least we know we have one more year.
Yes.
All right. Before we get into anything that's normal in our podcast episode, more of the general breakdown. On this point, I want you guys to tell me your percentage. What do you think percent-wise Vegan will stay for all 4 years? He will play out his contract here. Chances of that happening?
25.
35%.
Oh, I'll take 35.
I'm going to go 85.
Oh,
wow.
You think 4 years, you picked that just for his kids? Is that why?
A bit. I think he wants to get his daughter. I think he has a daughter, from what Zach told me early on. He wants to get her through high school. I wouldn't be surprised if that would play part of it. We've heard that he likes Bozeman a lot. I do also think, and we've been talking about this for a long time, the landscape of college football is ever changing. Montana State, Montana, who knows where we're at in 4 years? What if we're part of the Mountain West and all of a sudden he can earn his $1.5 million contract right here in Bozeman? I think that's a possibility, dude. I think that's a possibility.
He could be the one who takes us to the next level, like literally, not just like winning, actually to the next level.
All right. We're going to talk about this. This is a evergreen conversation.
There's a lot to talk about. There's going to be a long
This
episode.
will continue going on next year. There will be Vegan Watch all over again. And so I know we have all of our backup coaches who we want. We'll talk about that a little later. But the kind of rundown for today's show is we didn't really get to break down the South Dakota State game. Not South Dakota State, the University of South Dakota game. Zach was there, so we wanted to bring him on, get his takes on that. We'll give you the stats on that. We'll talk about a little bit of the news. And mostly this is going to be Frisco centered. All three of us will be there. So we're happy to meet you guys and talk it and chop it up with everybody who's Bobcats in there. Can't wait for that. But yeah, this is a celebration episode and just going to ham it up.
But first,
let's talk about what's in our golden coolies.
What's in your golden coolie?
What's in your golden coolie is sponsored by Wilbur Ellis. Go see Shay Richter and company up in Fort Benton for all your farming and fertilizer needs. I had to do it. Special beer for a special episode. Bozone Select Amber Ale. Representing Bozeman with this one. Got to do it.
Gosh, that's such a good beer.
That's a good one.
Beer. Go ahead, Zach.
All right. I have my Jeremiah Johnson Honey Weizen with, it's kind of a blue and gold can. Looks very Bobcat-y, but going with that. And then you guys told me to have basically a backup beer after my terrible decision of my blueberry cheesecake sour last episode. It's not a beer, but it's pretty good, and I'm bringing it out as a celebration. Rod and Hammer Whiskey Margarita with rye whiskey from San Luis Obispo. My sister went to college there, so I thought it would be appropriate, and I found these on the shelf. So, little whiskey celebration.
Cal Poly whiskey.
Not bad. A little beach whiskey.
Beach whiskey. Nice.
Well, I just came back from the motherland, Great Falls, and I brought myself some prickly pear pale ale.
Nice.
I recognize that can. That color of that can is unique. It's a very odd green.
You can buy 12 packs of these in the grocery store over there, and that was awesome.
That's
fantastic. It was a good choice. And then I have a RnR for a backup. I haven't debuted one of these in a while, but here you go.
They're always good.
Okay, I guess if we're talking backups, I have a Stella. It's a good old Stella. Artois. I don't know how to say that stupid last word.
All right, I got an off the cuff random question. Where does Montana rank in craft brewing states, you think?
Number one, baby.
Ooh.
For my personal taste in beer, it's high up there.
Well,
Washington
is
Washington has a lot.
Oregon's really pretty good too.
Can we? We'll just say this. I think it's top 5.
I would say that, but I'd have to taste a lot of beer.
Yeah.
From a lot of different places. I will say it's not Texas.
No.
After my visit, a couple visits to Texas, I'm like, just give me a Bud Light, please. Like the craft beers I had down there were not very good.
I thought for Frisco, because I'm bringing a cooler, of just packing a bunch of Montana beer and bringing it to the tailgate.
You should.
I might.
Just check an entire luggage full of beer.
Shout out to Nick Smith, who's going to pick me up from the airport. Thank you, Nick, on that. But the first time we got to meet Nick was in the Frisco parking lot. Actually, that's the first time we got to meet you too, Zach.
I got that picture.
Time. Yeah. Baby face. Zach
Baby face, no beard. Yeah.
Hipster glasses. Oh my gosh, that was funny. I didn't even recognize you without your beard, to be honest. Holy smokes. That got me sidetracked. But Nick ran a tailgate where he brought a ton of craft beer from the Texas area, and there was some good stuff in there, Thorny. At least the stuff we had. So shout out to Nick.
And the best burger I've had in my entire life.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah,
it was like the perfect burger at the time that we needed it. We were like kind of cold and sad after the game, and hungry, and he gave us a burger. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!"
Speaking of cold, man,
it hit the spot
today, or yesterday. The high for Frisco was 44 degrees.
Woo!
I know we're
advantage Bobcats.
Oh, man, I know we're all over the place right now, but I am so pumped for the tailgate.
What time are you starting?
Well, officially you can start at 1:00. I will be starting much earlier, and I will be.
What are they going to do about it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we started the tailgate last time at 4 a.m. and all the NDSU people basically spent the night at that parking lot.
Let's do it again. 4 a.m.
Do it again.
You heard it here.
Oh, I'm so pumped.
Is it 6 p.m. kickoff?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm not waking up that early to go tailgate. Absolutely
I might
not.
still be
What's wrong
up.
with you?
I might still be up.
Do you remember that parking lot and just what it looked like?
At the Regency Hyatt. That is a great hotel with a great lobby bar with a ton of cat fans. I am not waking up from that sweet, lovely bed that I'll be in. 41 degrees, fellas, is a high on Monday. 41 degrees with a low of 28. Supposed to be raining on Sunday. It could be an icy mess.
It's Montana shorts weather.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, advantage Bobcats.
I just worked outside all day in an ice storm. It's
41
shorts
degrees.
weather. Let's go.
That's colder than it was going to be at the semifinal game.
Yeah.
In that week where Montana was like in the mid 40s. Okay. All right. Thorny, let's before we start talking more Frisco, we'll get into let's talk about USD.
Do you want to do the press conference?
Oh yeah.
That's
Let's
usually
do
where
the
we
press
go.
conference. Yeah. Let's talk about what Coach was wearing at the press
And now,
conference.
Bobcat fans, it's time for F&F Fashion Watch, brought to you by Foley and Fisher, the only two that seem to really care what Brent Vegan is wearing at his press conference.
Does Russell get to come?
I'm sure he'll be there. I don't think he gets. I don't know.
That's a
I'm
good
sure he'll
question.
be there. Russell, reach out to us. I got
Yes,
beer
please.
for you.
Did he take one of the cheerleader spots?
That's a whole nother can of worms.
Sorry.
All right.
Go read Bobcat Nation if you want to read the
Yeah.
cheerleader thing.
Vegan's presser. All right, here we go. Coach wore his light navy plaid suit, a micrographed checked white shirt, and his steely Arctic blue tie. No pocket square, no baloney.
Are you just taking a picture of Brent Vegan and just submitting it to Chat GPT at this point? Having her
I
AI
should.
write it for you.
Guys,
That
I
should be
kid
interesting.
you not, this presser was a long haul, and there were some market differences. If you watched all of them like I do, he was one sitting. I haven't seen Coach Vegan ever sit for a press conference, and it bugged me a little bit because I'm a man of superstition, and you can't start doing something different when you're 15-0, and all of a sudden he's sitting behind a desk. Not going to work for this guy. So, that kind of got me, started it off a little bit. And then I looked at the timestamp. It was like 50 some minutes. Zach, you know the time, right? It was almost close to an hour of him
It was a
fielding
marathon.
questions. Coach, I kind of got the sense that if you sat down with Coach, he's a talker. You probably, give him a couple beers and you could get a lot of good stories, because when people ask him questions, he gives you more information in his veganese than really you would think he would give you. He goes on and on and on a little bit, and you're like, okay, wow, he's really thoughtful and articulate. I've never said he wasn't, but he's kind of a talker. So he went on, he was, of course, high praise for the Bison, talked about all their big time players, Cam Miller. He calls their running back Marty Brown. It's like Shamar on, or how do you say it? Charmar. He's a kind of sounds.
I'm
like
not entirely sure. I saw
yeah.
that name earlier. I was like, oh no, I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
like a Pokemon character. Well, he is a Jerry Rice Award winner. Kind of salty because we think Adam Jones should be, but whatever. Talked about Bryce Lance. Definitely, we got to know where number 5 is. He talked about their defensive tackle, Eli Mozart, who is a beast of a man. Yeah, so you could tell he still has a little bit, and he can't hide it, and God bless him. He still has the Bison pride because he's been a Bison his whole life. And this press conference felt distinctly different too, because he fielded questions from a national audience. Craig Haley, some Bison or North Dakota media.
Mike McFeely.
McFeel who? And yeah, so it kind of just been long. And yeah, anything else you would want to ask me about that press conference? But I watched it all. And there's some good points to it, but I was going to save some of the information. for
Any
later.
injury updates?
Yes, injury updates. Victor Flores, who is wearing that hat all year for some
The
reason.
Grim Reaper of our injury tech. That is just the tweet. I'm going to call him the tweet Grim
Someone's
Reaper.
got to do it.
Yeah, it's
Otherwise, we'd be like, "Where's Rohan Jones?" We'd all be just wondering.
I'd rather wonder that. Give me the hope.
You said Lanyata, who just to me looked like he had kind of a awkward injury out of bounds on overthrown ball from Tommy in the second half. He should be back. I have no clue what his injury was. And then he did mention Julius Davis as a possibility. and he said, kind of not in his vegan way. He said, I've been trying to slow play that throughout this since the injury happened during the Montana game and not give too much hope, but there is a possibility for him to be available on Monday. So
it's a 0% chance in Ryan Thornburg's book.
I'll say there's a chance. I'll go against that. This is a chance to play in a national championship game. That opportunity does not come around to play in a game like this or something like this. So if he can get himself to 50%, if he can take 2 or 3 carries, if he can get himself suited up, I think they're going to do everything in their power to get him suited up for this game.
Give him a couple carries when the game's decided in the fourth quarter, sure.
Sure. Yeah, I like that thinking. There we go.
He's the close.
We're going to have a healthy
minutes.
Adam Jones and a healthy Scotty Humphrey. Like, I'm not sure why we would need Julius at that point when you add Tommy Malott.
Imagine saying that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Do we need Julius Davis to win the national championship game? Can you say that in August? All right, we all just took a sip of beer at the exact same time. It's good podcasting.
You guys want to talk about the rock fight that happened in the semifinal game against Montana State and USD, or what? Should we talk about that a little bit?
Anything else in the presser, I guess, before we move on?
There's a lot in the presser, but I want to save a little bit of it because it has some flavors that we can talk about when we talk about Frisco.
Sounds good.
All right.
Let's transition into the stats segment. The stats are brought to you by Pronghorn Wealth Management. If you haven't looked at the stats on your company's 401k since the last time the Bobcats won a national championship, reach out to Kendall at Pronghorn Wealth to benchmark your current plan fees. Cell phone there, I guess. Hey, the Bobcats, man, won 31-17 against South Dakota, against a Missouri Valley Conference team at home.
Conference champion team.
The conference championship with a whole bunch of players of the year, defensive player of the year. That guy was legit. I can't remember his name. He's in the portal now, but
Keys Grace.
Yeah.
He's going to be playing at some Big Ten school or some
Yeah, that
SEC
guy's going
school.
to Wisconsin or something for sure. That guy was a beast. But the Cats win 31-17. Let's get through the stats. 20 first downs for the Bobcats, just 16 for South Dakota. Cats continue their dominance on third down, 7 of 15 on third down, while holding USD to just 3 of 10 and 0 of 2 on fourth down for the Coyotes. The Cats did not go for it on fourth down. 356 yards of total offense for the Bobcats, 134 through the air on 8 of 17 passing for 7.9 yards per pass, 222 yards on the ground for the Cats, 50 attempts for just 4.4 yards per carry. Coyotes actually averaged more yards per carry, 5.6 yards, but they only ran the ball 24 times for 135 yards because we kind of limited the plays for the Coyotes. They did throw 29 passes, completed 20 of them for 236 yards, 8.1 yards per pass for a grand total of 371 yards of total offense. Penalties, the Cats were penalized just 2 times for 5 yards. How does that work?
Offsetting penalties.
Does that still count as a penalty stat? Is
I think
that
you
a
still get the
one penalty
but
for
it's
0
not-
yards?
I think it's a penalty, but no yards.
I don't think I've ever seen that stat line before. It's kind of blowing my mind a little bit right now. USD was 5 penalties for 21 yards, which is also equally weird.
Yeah.
How do you have 7 penalties for 26 total yards in a football game? Anyway, 1 turnover for USD, 0 for the Cats. The turnover against USD was that last little hook and lateral type thing they tried at the end of the game. Bryce Grebe fell on it. Man, I love the way that game kind of ended exactly the way that the South Dakota State game ended in 2021. It's kind of funny how that worked out. 32 minutes and 4 seconds of time possession for the Cats and 27 minutes and 56 seconds for USD.
Red zone. The Yotes were 0 for 2 in the red zone. That was huge for us in this game because that was something we've struggled with a little bit, or maybe work upon for Montana State. Montana State continued its offensive prowess in the red zone, 3 for 3. The Yotes had 1 sack for 15 yards. We had 2 sacks for 16 yards. The Yotes punted 4 times for 108 yards, and the Cats punted 5 times for 270 yards. So that's interesting. Tommy Malott has 8 completions on 17 tries for 134 yards with a touchdown. He did have 17 carries for 125 yards, 2 touchdowns, and one of them being a 41-yard scamper that was his Walter Payton Ward winning moment of his career. And we'll talk about that. Adam Jones had 18 carries for 66 yards. Scotchy was only 11 for 35, but he had a touchdown. Taco had himself a good day, 4 for 94 with a touchdown. Ty McCullough, 3 for 27. Lanyata, 1 for 13. Drew Polidor had 5 solo, 7 total, led the team. Kenny Iden had 3 total, 1 sack for 7 yards. Brody Greavy, 1 sack for 9 yards. Miles Sandstead had a 28-yard field goal, and it was 4 for 4 on extra points. Aiden Bauman, 20 for 29, 236 with 2 sacks. That's SD's quarterback, Travis Tice, who I think was probably the best running back I've seen all year. No offense to Lan Larson, but I didn't know about this Travis Tice guy. He was a stud. 14 carries, 110 yards. He had 7 catches for 80 yards with a long of 24. He had a touchdown, the long of 55. Charles Pierre, their other running back, had 4 touches for 57 yards with a long of 45. So if you take out those long 2 carries for those boys, we really bottled up the run game, which was really impressive. And both of those happened in the first quarter. Their All-American tight end, J.J. Galbraith, was 6 catches for 68 yards with a long of 23.
That guy was good.
Yeah, he was. And Carter Bell, one of their top receivers, only had 3 catches for 53 yards with a long of 24. So there
Coyote,
are your,
Taco Dollar. Oh, sorry.
yeah, are your stats.
Didn't mean to disturb
Coyote,
your bell
Taco
rung.
Dollar. You can't call them the Coyotes. That's what they said on, I think that's what Brock Osweiler said.
Coyotes.
Are they
Can't
the
call 'em
Coyotes?
Coyotes. Yep, the Yotes, Coyotes. Can't call them the Coyotes.
Is there a difference between the animal?
We can call them whatever we want. We beat them.
I'm not going to call them the bison.
Oh, man.
Bison.
Great Falls High Bison. Thank you.
Thorny, do you know the title of Great Falls' fight song?
Anchors Away.
You got it, buddy.
Really?
There you go.
I'm surprised I remember that. I had to play the fight song multiple years in the marching band.
Do you know CMR's fight song?
No clue.
Zach?
No idea. Again, I didn't grow up in Montana.
Yeah, why would he know that?
One of the best fight songs ever made.
It's not Anchors Away.
Magnificent Seven.
Okay.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Travis
Zach?
Tice was a dude, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, being on that sideline, watching those teams warm up, and then South Dakota's first possession when they came out there, and I think they were started that possession on like the 11-yard line. I just kind of looked at their offensive line. That's the biggest offensive line
They're
I've ever seen. Walk into,
huge.
biggest offensive line I'd ever seen walk into Bobcat Stadium, easily. They were massive.
They weren't just like, you see so many big offensive lines come through Montana State, like the Bobcat Stadium, and they're just like, they're not athletic. They're just like, they're big,
Those dudes could move.
but these guys were like legitimate, like NFL looking dudes. And yeah, the big, strong, fast, everything you want in an offensive line, man, they were good.
They passed the eye test.
Yeah. As Jeff Choate would say, they got a whole bunch of off the bus guys. Yeah, look at that. Thornburg had the first Choate reference tonight.
Choate reference tonight.
Who had that on their bingo card? But yeah, they were big, man. Travis Tice was he was good.
I had a lot of
he was
respect
impressive.
for that guy, man. Yeah, he had incredible balance. He reminded me a lot of Cody Kirk, like his ability to
That's a
keep
good
his
comp.
pad level. What's that?
I said that's a good comp.
Yeah, okay, sorry. To keep his pad level forward and to shift to left to right when his tacklers were coming at him, he could just shed a lot of tackles. And I was really impressed with that guy. Even though that go back to the offensive line, even though they were mammoths of men, in which they were, we were able to get pressure on Bauman, especially Kenny Iden. He had himself a really good game, 2 sacks. That was huge. So I felt like our speed on our defensive line, our cheetah package worked against him. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the same thing when we play the Bison, because they're very similar looks as far as offensive lines go.
I think North Dakota State has way more talented wide receivers. That's the only thing that really scares me. Is we did get quite a bit of pressure on Bauman, and there were quite a few throws where we didn't get home to him, but there was a lot of incompletions because he had to make a bad throw or he couldn't put the ball where he needed to put the ball.
Yeah,
I think Cam Miller. The one thing that really worries me about this game is I think Cam Miller can put that ball within the vicinity, and these wide receivers for NDSU are way more athletic and can make those plays.
I mean, Aiden Bauman still completed 69% of his passes against the Bobcats. It's not like he had a bad completion percentage. And a couple of those were, 1 or 2 of them were like, I think, catchable. That were the incompletions there. But we did get a lot of pressure on him. That's kind of been the Cats' MO all year. Like, not necessarily racking up the stats, but making guys uncomfortable. Problem is, Cam Miller doesn't get uncomfortable.
We can try.
We can sure try. Except he'll beat you with his feet. So I don't know. I don't want to talk too much Bison yet. We still need to recap this game a little bit. But what was it like there at the game, Zach?
I didn't think you could fit another person in that stadium. It was juiced. It was amped up. It was everything you wanted it to be. And I firmly believe in the fourth quarter, those defensive stops towards the goal line, the crowd had a massive impact on those. I hope that came through on the broadcast, but the crowd was loud on those 3rd and 4th downs.
Oh, it's great on the broadcast. I love it when the legit ESPN crews come in. They mic up the crowd so much better. It just sounds so much better. Such better equipment. It just sounded great.
I was down in that end zone on the field. It was incredibly loud. It was juiced up. It was amped. The players fed off of it, and I think it mattered.
I mean, Bowman. Is it Bowman or Bauman? Bauman had a lot of hard time. You could trying to get his team like the audibles.
They had 2 fumbles.
Yeah, that's right. They did have the snap when he was trying to call an audible or trying to talk to his offensive line. They just snapped it right into his chest. Forgot about that one. Yeah, that was definitely crowd. That was all crowd. Deserves some credit for basically keeping some points off the board, as far as I'm concerned.
They had to, the crowd and the defense had to show up in the second half late because that game was still in question. And we went into my biggest critique of that game, and it was what made me go ballistic when in the Davis game, you can go back to listen to that post-game episode of how I felt. We went into a shell at the end of and that you can't do that. You can't do that against NDSU either. This is championship level football. These guys are going to keep punching you in the face and going to give you your best shot. And they dang near got to us. If they go in for a touchdown there, we've gone into a shell. Do you trust our offense to get a couple first downs and march down the field at that point? It's like, we haven't proven we can do anything in the second half right now after the Tommy run.
3rd quarter has been kind of a question mark all year long. It's one where we feel a little bit of a lull, and we just kind of shut down a little bit.
A lot of that is because we're already winning the game by 20 points.
That's a good point. Good point.
But we're up 14 against the Missouri Valley Conference champion with a chance to go to the semifinals, and we go into a shell in the 3rd quarter. It's like, put your foot on their throat and finish them. The fumble would have finished them. If that fumble would have happened, that was it. But even after the fumble, it's like, okay, they kick a field goal. Go down and score and end this thing.
Yeah, you've seen the Cats have much more of a killer instinct this year as the season's progressed, but it's we're still playing not to make a mistake here once we've had these leads. And I don't know. It just, like you said, just got to keep the foot on the gas against a team. South Dakota has proven all year long they can come back in games. They did it against the Bison.
North Dakota State. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that game was far from over for a lot of that second half. And without that miraculous all-time Tommy Mellott run, the game's a little bit different. And
The
that was right
offense-
after the announcer
yeah.
said, unless something like horrible happens, and like Tommy like
He
fumbles
drops
it,
the ball.
like 2 seconds later, you son of a announcer. Oh,
Fully-
okay, it worked out then.
Fully, our offense had the killer instinct as what in the second half?
Rob Ash.
Yeah, there we go.
It was weird. I went back and watched it a couple times. I think, can't remember, is it, in the third quarter, but we did try 2 passes. It was one time, that's when Tommy Malott got an intentional grounding. Do you remember that one where?
Yeah, he just went back and
Mhm.
they
Yeah.
just came right at him.
But after that series, we exclusively ran the ball like 100%. And it
Did
was
we
like-
have one first down after that?
I'm not sure we did. I felt
I
like
think
there was
we
a
had
whole bunch of
one.
3 and outs.
No, we had one after the late in the game. We had a first down late in the game.
Yeah, without pulling it up because we did on our last drive, and then we punted it back to them. But it was weird. It was really weird because I thought it was there. It was there in the first half, and we completely abandoned the pass game. It's almost like we didn't trust Tommy to do that, and I just thought that was an odd moment in this season, was not to trust something that's been so productive.
Do you think part of it is just, all right, we got this. Let's let the defense do their thing. Let's keep
Yeah.
Tommy healthy.
I think so. I think not the healthy part. I just think let the defense do their thing. Let Bobcat Nation do their thing because the crowd was into it. It was clearly something that the coaches were identifying like, hey, Bobcat Nation, the crowd is going to bring it. And we just need to get home, be smart. Maybe they're playing that shell coverage like you're saying. And it worked really. I mean, to be honest with you, like take a look what Bauman did. We never got beat deep. Like Travis Tice had 80 yards of catches, or 80 yards on 7 catches. Those were all checkdowns.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yep,
Like he was
we
just
had everything
so
in front of
crafty.
us.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just that good. So we made them walk. I mean, we'll walk. We made them go matriculate the length of the field, and then we bowed up 0 for 2 in the red zone. Crowd came into it. 2 bad snaps. Simeon Woodard had himself a great breakup pass on 4th down. Perfect, man. We executed. But yes, to your guys' point, we could have just stomped on them. One play.
38-14 would have just
Yeah.
then it's a whoop down. It's we're partying midway through the third quarter at that point. It's over.
Yeah. We're talking about a 31-17 game that could have been worse, and we're like, it's a good feeling
It's a good feeling.
that we're talking about like we should have had this over in the third quarter. That's crazy that we're at this point as a program and expectations, and
Down basically our top 2 running backs too. And we're a running team.
we're a running team. Man, the defense has been lights out in terms of points per game the last month. Like since the UC Davis game, it's been like what, 11, 17, 19, 14. I don't think we've given up more than 20 points in the last 4 games.
I think UC Davis is the most points we've given up all year, not accrediting the New Mexico game because there was 2 offensive touchdowns.
Yeah, we gave up 28 to
28
Eastern
points.
as well.
That's right.
That was a bit of a little bit of a shootout.
That was, yeah.
But yeah, so yes, it's been 11 Montana, 17 UT Martin, 19 Idaho, 17 South Dakota. All home
Eastern
games.
Washington, like low key, the most stressful game we had this year, besides week 0.
No, Davis was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Davis was. I was stressing a little bit there in the third quarter of Idaho State when it was 17-10.
That's true. That was a closer game than
I was a little I was getting a little worried there when it was 17-10, and then Tommy threw the ball to Rohan, and it was over.
Yeah, I wasn't stressing the New Mexico game because it's an FBS game, and it's like it is what it is. That UC Davis game was like, but Eastern was tough. Like that was I felt like the hardest to pull away from that we've had all year. It was stressful for a little bit because it was a shootout for a
Every
minute.
time we thought we were going to bury them, they just
Exactly.
popped right back like little weasels,
A little whack-a-mole.
eagle weasels.
Whack-a-mole. Oh, man. All right, guys. Hey, we won, though. And here's the deal. In 2021, it was unbelief. And it was ecstatic. Like, I can't believe we just did that. In 2024, it was like, yeah, we should have won. Is that how you felt, Zach?
Yeah. I know a lot of people who had Frisco tickets, and the week before that, during the week of the South Dakota game, was asking me where I'm staying in Frisco. When am I flying to Frisco? Where are my tickets for Frisco? I had to tell a lot of them, we have to win the game first. But in the back of my head, I had the same thought of, truly, with this senior class and what I said before Idaho in the playoffs, this ride is not ending because of this. This ride with this team is not ending with another team coming into Bobcat Stadium and beating this senior class and beating this team in front of a sold-out Bobcat Stadium. It's not happening.
Nope. I said when we started recording our, I don't know at what point I said it, but I said, if we beat Idaho, we're going to the national championship. Like, I didn't care who was the next opponent. I felt like that was the last little tiny hurdle. But yeah, this feels different than 2021. That was like a kind of out of nowhere season. Or at least an out of nowhere run, a magical playoff run. One of the most incredible moments as a Bobcat fan, just that Tommy Lott taking his first start against UT Martin of all teams, taking us all the way to the national championship. It was fantastic. This year was like expected.
It's the expectation now with certain teams leaving for the FBS and what other teams are in the FCS level. And you look at the Dakotas and you look across the state at our rival. The expectation is bare minimum at this point, in my mind, getting to the semifinals. With the resources, the players, the coaches, where everything currently stands at Montana State, there is no excuse not to make the semifinals.
And especially when you isolate, it's this year's team. This specific team.
There was no excuses.
They weren't going to lose.
And it just gives you like appreciation of how good it is to have the semifinal game in Bobcat Stadium. How important is it to get the 1 and 2 seed to be at home? Because, guys, going forward, we're not going to lose if we're at home in a semifinal game. Look at that, 22,000 people. You
Good
said
luck.
You couldn't even fit a person in there. No, man, that place is intoxicating. Like, you can't wait for next year now. Like, you're looking ahead next year's schedule. You're like, okay, we got to wait through this, but wait until we get to the playoffs, because there's going to be this moment again where we get to these, like you said, the Final Four is the expectation. Coach Vegan talked about that today in his press conference. He said 2021 reset the expectation for us. We need to be in that Final Four. But 2021 also showed him what we were short. The 2021 game, the national championship game, and the 2022 loss against South Dakota State in the semifinals were catalysts for the program, because he saw that we couldn't stack up in the trenches. We lost those games in the trenches. And he specifically noted that today and said, this is where we needed to get bigger and better. And now we have. And, these games that we get to see in Bobcat Stadium, the high importance semifinal game going into the national championship game, it's so huge, man. And Montana State, our crowd, man, it looks so damn sweet on the television, man. It's just like, and especially like Zach, this is so cool because you didn't get to see it, but sitting over here watching it on ESPN, you're watching the Fargo Stadium. And it's like, okay. And then they pan over to the next game, Montana State, and it's just like, boom, in your face, like raucous. You're like, it's Montana State. Bozeman showed out so well compared to everything that we were seeing on ESPN that day. It was so cool. But yeah, I'm kind of long-winded right there. Such a good moment for us.
I know it's not. I know it's different, but watching a lot of these random FBS bowl games in front of like 6,000 people in some random city and some random, and a lot of teams being former FCS teams playing in these just tiny random bowl games. And that's their postseason. And then being like 60,000 Bobcat fans got to watch 3 playoff games in Bobcat Stadium. And now we have basically, the ultimate bowl game where we get to go play in front of a sold out crowd in Frisco. I watched the Memphis West Virginia game at the Frisco Stadium, and there was less than 6,000 people there. And those are major programs. And I'm like, say what you want. Those are massive programs. The fact that we got 3 awesome home games, 2 of them in absolute prime time, it's just awesome. It's sweet.
Absolutely. You can't. I love the now that they're doing the college playoff, the FBS playoffs at some home stadiums, you kind of see what it can be like. They're getting a little bit of taste like, all right, the FCS has had it right this whole time.
100% agree.
All right. Anything else on the South Dakota win?
What are we going to play next year when we play in Nashville and we can't play if you're going to play in Texas? You got a fiddle in the band.
I'm glad you asked that. It was Roger Fisher asked that on the Golden Coolie, and I went down a rabbit hole of bad Nashville songs today.
About Nashville that have like the word Nashville in them.
Yeah. Terrible. The best one I could come up with it's called Nashville Cats. Of course, right? I mean, we're the Bobcats.
It sounds horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Rocky Top, you'll always be home. That was my vote. Or Dixieland Delight. That was my other thought.
See, the one that they have plays well now because it says, if you're going to play in Texas, that's a double meaning to it because we're playing in Texas. So it works. There's nothing with Nashville that I could find that was going to take that. So
what about the theme song to that awful TV show Nashville? You guys ever watch that? I know my parents watched it. I have no idea what the theme song sounds like. I just remember there was a show called Nashville.
No idea.
Theme song it. Let's find out if it's any good. Probably terrible.
Yeah, Roger. To be honest, I couldn't find one good song on something Nashville related. So there you go. A lot of bad country songs.
The only things that came to mind, Rocky Top or Dixieland Delight. Those are the only things I can think of when I thought about Tennessee.
All right.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'd be stoked to go to Nashville next year if this happens all over again. That'd be awesome.
I'd rather go to Nashville than Frisco.
Yeah, I think I'm on that boat too.
But
how long would it take to get from Nashville from like our neck of the woods? Is it a longer flight?
But yeah. I mean, Dallas is a lot longer than you think it is from Washington, but Nashville is going to be further.
It's going to be probably not 45 minutes to an hour.
Probably not significantly further though.
Fair. Okay, guys, let's talk about Frisco.
The Bison.
The rematch.
The revenge.
They got a new coach.
Who we almost hired.
Yeah.
Or was on the radar anyway.
It was on the short list.
On the short list. And he's proven to be a pretty good, successful guy over there at NDSU.
Him and Vegan are good buddies. Turns out that Coach Vegan said that Tim Polisic bought his house in Laramie. So he said he's one of the few coaches that he remains in close contact with too. Good buddies. There you go.
North Dakota State beat South Dakota State twice this year. That's got to feel good. It's got to be a little bit good. They got the revenge factor going for them a little bit this year as well.
I know that program's all about national championships and stuff, but that senior class hadn't beat South Dakota State, and I'm sure they will be ready to play. But the one thing I thought was, I'm sure their mission was always Frisco and stuff like that. But you got to think that senior class and their top priority this year too was beating SDSU.
Well, Cam Miller made the rounds a little bit on social media there for saying, like, I hate those guys. I can say it now. I hate those guys. I was like, I thought that was great.
Little Anakin Skywalker. I hate you.
I think that's what makes college football so great. Rivalry. You be able to just come out there and say, I can finally say it. I hate them. Love it. Who would say that? Who would say that on the roster right now?
That they hate
The Grizz. Like who would come out and just verbally say that?
It was Danny Yu. I mean, did you watch the video where he said, what did Coach Hauk say? Something about a butt whooping, and then they played the clip.
What do they call that, Coach Hauk?
It's Danny Yu.
That's right. He would
Number one trash talker in our team, and I love him. That dude gives a dang. I hope he gives one in Frisco in front of everybody. He'll probably do it in the locker room. That dude gives one fiery pregame speech. I think Coach mentioned or said or joked about, we were a little late out to the run out for the final game because Danny was getting a little long-winded in the pregame speech.
For the South Dakota game?
Before the South Dakota game, yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, man, there's some stuff I just wish I could get privy to.
Yeah.
That speech. I love seeing the little snippets of it when we do get it, of like Vegan talking or some players talking. It's like, oh, hell yeah.
Yep. So I got two random poetic things I've been thinking about. One, I don't think this team and I don't think the fan base would have it any other way. We want to play NDSU to win our first title.
Concur.
This is, you got to go slay the dragon. You got to go slay the giant. There's a lot of bad taste in the mouth after how things that happened in 21 and how things happened last year with the blocked PAT. And then the other thing I had, and I've texted a couple of people about it, is it'd be weirdly poetic if a Big Sky team won the first Frisco game and the last Frisco game and not a single one in between. Like, that'd just be a weird close the chapter of
so did
FCS
Eastern
football.
win the first one?
Yeah. Eastern
That
won
was
the
first year in
game.
Frisco?
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah, 2010.
Gosh,
There you go.
it's been in Frisco for 14 years.
Been a long time.
That's crazy. I didn't think it was that long. But it's
not necessarily
that's
going
good research.
back either. Yeah, it's going to be up for a bid after this season.
After the 2 years.
Yeah, it might come back for all we know, but crazy.
But for all intent and purposes, it's, this chapter of Frisco is closing in this run.
And let's end it with the Big Sky. For the Big Sky. For our
Do you
fellow
think
brothers.
there's anything to it where they call it Fargo South? Is that going to play for the Bison? Do you think that their home field, that this is a home field advantage for them?
I think the first time, yes. I think it's a real thing for teams that are the first time there. There's still guys on the team that were there last time. This is like, it's a little bit different now. So no, I think that shine has worn off, so to speak.
Besides JMU, for most of their run too, if you look at most of the teams they slaughtered for titles, it was, oh my gosh, we made a title. We made the champion. Look at us. We went and, beat Eastern randomly up on their field, and now we're in the title game. Or, we're a random team from the South that randomly made the title game. Wow, look at us. Now we're just going to get killed by NDSU. The one thing that really I thought about, especially in 21, is how big our fan base was and how much it showed out. And then having South Dakota State there and how big their fan base was, it showed out. And then Montana being there and how big their fan base. Since 21, you have had massive fan bases of state schools be there. And I kind of equivalated all as equals now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bar advertising for the Bobcats heavily down there right now.
I've gotten a lot of those ads.
They're like, hey, Bobcat fans, come here. They changed their like background on their Facebook page to like a picture in Bobcat Stadium. They are trying to get the Bobcat fans there. I guess that's where South Dakota State fans partied last year. So they're just kind of like, we know where the Bison go. We're gonna attach ourselves to whatever other team is in town. Which is a strategy. It's good.
Yeah, smart.
Side note, did you guys go to the alumni event last time in 21?
I don't think we did we?
Nope.
The only thing we went to that was kind of a big gathering was the Concrete Cowboy. We ended up there there's a whole bunch of people there. There's a whole bunch of like former MSU like legends in there. It was awesome.
they ran out of beer last time. I think they were at some big convention center. I hope we're ready this time around. I hope it doesn't happen because it's at the Cowboys practice facility.
I'm not sure I'm going to go to any official events or not. To be determined.
It was fun last time.
Was it?
Yeah.
Let's think about it.
I want to go up there and cheer Waded one last time.
Well, that actually might have sold me on wanting to go to it now. She
gave a speech to everybody last time with the band, and I got will be one last send off in front of a very large crowd.
I'm not sure I've ever been in person for a Waded Cruzado speech.
I love them. They're great.
That might sell me on it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm sold on it, but sounds like a whole bunch of guys, standing around applauding. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It's hard to applaud with 2 beers in your hand.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to have
hands.
the practice again where they invite all the former Bobcat players.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited to get down there. So excited to see everybody. It's like a reunion.
Yeah, a common theme in the presser today, Coach Vegan mentioned was 2021. We were almost shocked that we got there. Even Tommy Malott was like these miraculous offensive plays continue to happen and allowed us to get there. He's like, I didn't know a lot about football, but I was just trying to make plays. And he's completely different now. And now, Coach Vegan said, we're not just happy to be there, quote unquote. They're expecting to win. And of course, we're actually favored in this game for the first time. And that feels distinctly different than, well, really anything we've seen come out of the Big Sky in the last 10 years. Because it's all been North Dakota State. North Dakota State's gunning for their 10th national championship. We're gunning for our first in 40 years. It's a big difference. And the thing that kind of bugged me a little bit was at the end of the South Dakota State, North Dakota State game, the person who was talking to Cam Miller, she's like, and now you guys get to go back to the national championship where it feels like it's been waiting for you. Like it's your rightful thing to accept. And Cam's like, yeah, we have unfinished business. And I was like, no, like we're going. It's ours. It's our time. It's not theirs. Like they've had their shot. Like it's time for a new sheriff to come to town. I think Montana State's that sheriff.
What do you think the key factor in this game is? One thing. Just say one thing that you think defines this game.
I got 3 for you. I wrote them down.
Give them to me.
He wants you to narrow it down to one, I think.
I want one. I want your most important, and then you give me your other 2. Why are we sitting here a week after the game celebrating or being sad?
Okay, I think the number one thing we have to do is confuse Cam Miller. I think he is the key to the win. The team who plays, and this is not my take, and I'm going to steal this from either Tutel or Nuanez. I listened to their podcast today, but it rang true to me, and it's something I was already thinking. So call it what you want. The quarterback who plays better is probably going to win this game, either Tommy Malott or Cam Miller. And I think if we can confuse Cam Miller and bottle him up, not allow him to beat us with his legs, because he's going to try to beat us with his arm first. I think that's what NDSU is going to do. I think that's their key, is to beat us with number 5, Bryce Lance, and Cam Miller. If we can somehow negate that through pressure, through coverage, I don't know what it is, what we'll have to do. That's the number one key. That's my number one key. I got 2 more if you want.
Go ahead.
Number 2, I think we have to have a balanced attack. I've talked to a couple people who are like, yeah, we're going to go 300 on the ground against these guys. I'm not sure if we can. The way they play defense against us might be different than the way they played against Gronowski and company on the Jackrabbits. Going 300 against them would be awesome. Gronowski had quite a few holes he can run. He had more room than I thought he could. I think we can run in on these guys? Yes. But I think like if Tommy magically could have a 200 game like he did against, what was it? Was it UT Martin? He had a 200 game, or
yeah.
We'd win. Obviously we'd win. If Tommy Malott, buy or sell Tommy Malott 200 with at least 2 touchdowns to the air.
200 yards passing.
Mm-hmm.
I must sell it.
Yeah, I think I might sell that too, unfortunately.
Okay.
You give me 175, I might buy it.
Yep.
Yeah, so if he goes 200, I'm thinking we've won.
Cool,
right?
yeah.
Against,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
But a balanced attack offensively, we can't do what we did against South Dakota State. And like Thorny said, just kind of hold on. Like we got to continue to have a balanced attack. And we went away from that in the second half. And my number 3 thing is, of course, control the clock, time of possession. It's been my key stat all year long. And if we can keep the Bison off the field, if we can get them in 3 and outs, if we can make them punt 4 times, I think we win this game.
All right, I'm coming with my hot take. We have a defensive touchdown in this game.
That was on my list too. Bold prediction. Woo! Let's
So that's
go.
mine. That's my hot take of the game. There's a Montana State defensive touchdown in this game.
Give it to me.
I love you guys for thinking that.
You haven't had one. I want one so
That's
bad.
how I'll phrase it.
We are in optimistic mode right now.
Nice. My one key, if I had to narrow it down to one, win first down. The Bobcats win the football game.
That's fair.
Get 4, 5, 6 yards on first down. We're chewing that ground game all. We're chewing up the clock. We're moving the ball. We're moving the chains. We're extending drives. We're keeping them off the field. And the stats back this up. NDSU is actually 82nd in first down defense. The Bobcats are number 3 in first down offense. And NDSU is actually 81st in third down defense. And MSU is number 2 in third down offense. So there's a mismatch in statistics here. NDSU is not very good on first down defense or third down defense, and the Cats are top 3 in each of those categories.
There you go.
So I think if the Cats can consistently get at least 3, 4, 5, 6 yards on first down, we're not going to come off the field too often.
South Dakota was a field goal away from beating South Dakota State and being the outright Missouri Valley champs. And with a win against Portland State, if that, they would have probably been a 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys beat NDSU. Granted, it was at USD and it took kind of a miraculous comeback.
It's like a miraculous choke job.
Yeah.
They were already up.
They did choke it. Yep. But I keep coming back to, and I've watched our game and I've watched a couple NDSU games. I've watched them against USD. I think USD clearly, in my mind, was is the better team. Now, this is a neutral field game. This is a team that's been here. This is a team that's been here before. There's a lot of different factors about this. But I have a lot of confidence going into this game because we squared up and beat down, and we talked about it could have been way worse against South Dakota. I think South Dakota is a better team than NDSU, to be honest, this year.
I think they're a more balanced, well-rounded team. Yeah, I agree with that. It was very good confidence booster to beat a team that beat NDSU. Period.
Yeah.
That felt good. And it gives you hope going into this game. I mean, the intangibles are really kind of what this game is boiling down to for me. The revenge factor, which has been a big part of MSU all year. You know what's on the guys' mind. They already talked about it. It's worked against Idaho. It's just been working for us. This will be Brent Vigen's second trip to the national championship. This will be Tim Polisek's first trip, the head coach for North Dakota State. I know NDSU is the machine, and they're used to going to Fargo, but Tim Polasek himself has not been to Frisco as a head coach. And we have Tommy Lott, and they don't.
We don't make predictions, but I really want to make one right now.
Don't do it.
I'll keep it.
Talk about Foley saying you don't change things up when you're 15-0.
You don't change things up. We're going to go, I'll put it this way. We're going 1-0 one more week.
I mean, Foley said this multiple times this year. If you want to go this route, I'll allow it. We can win, and it doesn't have to be close.
Yeah,
yep, I like that.
The old Foley.
There is a real chance we are celebrating mid-third quarter.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
There is a real chance that could be a thing.
There is a chance. This is not.
it's a 4-quarter.
We're losing that
It is.
We're losing the Bobcat Stadium magic a little bit, and that's my biggest concern. Is this is not in Bozeman anymore? If this is in Bozeman, the Cats win this by 2-3 touchdowns. But it's not.
Yeah.
And there's going to be an equal amount of NDSU fans there, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. It's going to be 50-50 probably.
It's going to be 50-50.
It's going to get loud for both sides. It's going to be a raucous environment. It's going to be a fun time. And we've played well on the road, but we play really, really well in Bozeman. So curious to see who kind of comes out and takes advantage of that crowd momentum, because one side could silence the other 50% of the people in the stadium real quick and changes the dynamic of the game. So
yeah, but it's not going to be like a home game for either team.
No.
So that's going to be a distinct kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's not going to.
Yeah, it's not Fargo Dome either.
No, exactly. Nope. Do you think this game will be decided by a touchdown or less?
I don't.
Somebody who has Bobcats minus 6.5, I think it'll be decided by a touchdown or more.
I think either way it goes, I think it's going to be more touchdown.
Yeah, I'm seeing 14 to 17 points is how I'm feeling about this game.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to. No, I'm not gonna even say it. I can text you guys this later if you want. I'm not gonna put this bad juju on the air. I'm not gonna mention what I want to say right now.
We're so superstitious.
I'm the most stitious.
Oh man, we can win. It doesn't have to be close.
Hey.
I feel like we should put that on a T-shirt. Your dad can make it for us.
Yeah.
Later.
That'd be good.
We're gonna win it.
I'll say this though: if this team can't win a national title,
don't even put that out there.
What can?
Also bad juju.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
but if this that's the other thing that keeps coming back to in my head. If this team, 15-0 with everything they've done and beating the snot out of just about everybody, it's just the confidence level. It's got to be there.
It does.
We have a Golden Coolie questions about that somewhere.
Yeah. Are we going to go into those, or do we want to take this another direction? Because we're kind of.
If we have one relevant to what we just said, let's sprinkle it in. But otherwise, let's finish up our conversation about this. And I think we did have one. That exact question: is this like the only chance we're going to have?
No.
Let me see if it's on Twitter. Oh yeah, Dusty. Does this feel like the last shot at a natty? With such a great senior class graduating, and who knows what will happen in the next few years as far as moving to the FBS, it just feels like this is our last chance to win the whole thing.
No.
I don't think it's our last chance. The FBS part of that's interesting. If we move up in 2 years, if you put a time limit on this, let's say we have 3 years left in the FCS. Is this our last chance? Let's put it that way.
After what happened to South Dakota State, no.
Good point, Zach. We could be back here next year.
There's a very real chance.
Yeah, I think our defense is just as good, if not better, next year. Depends on what we get through. Chance Wilson, River Warren. What happens with our quarterback situation. That's the ultimate key right there. What happens after Tommy will be kind of the big thing, because I think Zach Cruz becomes the next the big thing on our defense. Kenny Iden's going to be probably number 41 for us. I mean, I think the defense is going to be lights out next year. What kind of offense we're going to have? We have the running back. We have a great returning offensive line. We can talk about that, even though Marcus Ware is going to be leaving. Who knows if we keep Connor Moore? This is for an episode down the road, right? But yeah, no, I going back to what Thorny said. Tommy Malott, Coach Vegan, Rylan Ort, and Ryan Tutel all discussed this exact moment today. And they thought 2021, hey, this could be it. This is it. The Cats won, and this, in Tutel's version, he's like, hey man, this is probably the best Montana State is going to get. From Malott's version, they're like, can we get back? Is this possible for us to get back? Well, guys, we're not only back, but we're better than what we were collectively.
We're favored to win the game.
Yeah, we might not have Troy Anderson, Daniel Hardy, Ty Okada in the back end, but collectively, the depth and the synergy of this team, the size, the strength of this team is better than what we had in 2021. We are ready for this stage. It's not we're lucky to be there. It's time to go kick ass and take a rightful spot at the top.
It's time to take it.
How many 2s and 3s throughout this year got to play entire fourth quarters and got a ton of valuable snaps?
The lion's share of our team.
for next year and the year after that. I think about that too a lot of, some of those scores, we had teams score on us, but we just had so many guys who are going to be rotational pieces to starters in the next upcoming years. And with the guys we're bringing back and the Montana kids we're bringing back and the coaching staff, hopefully we bring completely back, there's a lot to be really excited about and give you a lot of optimism going forward.
I mean, this has always been NDSU's secret sauce. They get to play extra football. Not only do the backups get to play a lot because we are blowing teams out, but the playoff runs are just more football games. So the guys that are your main starters, not even the backups, they're just straight up playing more football than anyone else is. And that adds up. That experience adds up over the course of a career. So there's going to be a lot of experienced guys coming back next year, even if they're backups. It's crazy. You get this practice time right now too before the national championship game that you wouldn't get. Only two teams in the entire country are getting extra practice right now. It's crazy.
Seeing how much home field advantage matters, especially on this playoff run and in the last 4 years that I've really taken, it just pisses me off how screwed the 22 team, in my opinion, got.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still believe that team was way better than the 21 team and should have played for a national title. And if it's not negative something degrees and freezing in the middle of Brookings in front of 10 people, what happens? Still mad about that. But anyway, it just shows how valuable having that home crowd is. Somebody said the home teams in the semifinals have not lost since 2016.
I believe it.
They are undefeated in the home semis.
It's such a big part of it. We finally realized it this year.
Getting one of those top 2 seeds is just so critical.
And by realized, I mean it actually happened. Obviously, we realized how important it was, but it actually materialized this year.
Clicking on the Golden Coolie thread on Bobcat Nation, and the board is down out of all the times. If everybody else could bring that up and maybe on your end it works, it's not working on mine.
Oh man, yeah, it's yep. Sorry,
is
but
it completely down?
Yeah, that's
on.
good timing. There's only one more thing on Twitter. I mean, there's one. Johnny Longman asks us, "Are we meeting at the Concrete Cowboy Sports Bar on a Sunday night?" Not a Golden Coolie question necessarily, but quite possibly.
I'm going to be there Saturday. You're coming in on Sunday. Zach's going to be there Saturday. I got nothing but time on my hands, guys.
Yeah, reach out to us. We don't have any real plans yet. We were just talking about it today. Like, we should probably start firming up what we're going to be doing.
Thorny, do you want to go back to that steakhouse we went to?
Possibly. That was good. I think it was day, guys.
Are you wearing your Gold Rush shirt?
I am wearing my Gold Rush shirt. You better believe that.
There we go.
You best believe that Gold Rush shirt is traveling. I'll keep it in a separate little bag to keep the stench in if I have to.
Thorny, I just want you to sleep on your side this time. So
I don't snore.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Got sleep hat machine.
I don't snore anymore. That was so 3 years ago. I'm cured. I'm cured. The only other thing on Twitter, and I clicked.
You guys made sure you got 2 beds this time, right?
Yeah. Like a Dumb and Dumber.
Victor Ponto didn't ask us again. This is not a question. He said, not a question, but this is less than 13 months ago. He basically posted the stats and the score from the NDSU game from last year and just mentioned that Derek Snell, Julius Davis, Tommy Malott, Sean Chambers, and Drew Polidor, and at least one offensive lineman all missed all or parts of this game. So he's pointing out we almost beat the Bison last year with a whole bunch of injuries. That's something
should have
beat the Bison. Yeah, the injuries.
That would have set up a rematch with the Grizzlies. That would have been crazy, and that's going to happen. I mean, I didn't think
it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, if we keep going down this path, it will.
Yeah, there's going to be 6 teams competing every year. It's going to happen.
Well, 2 of them just got gutted, so we'll see.
Yeah, they'll be back.
They'll be back, but yeah,
maybe not. Yeah. Well, that's a bummer. Bobcat Nation is down. The last thing I want to say about the North Dakota State game is one team has looked much more dominant in their playoff run, and it's the Bobcats.
One team wasn't down 17-3 in the second quarter to Abilene Christian.
Like, we haven't even come close to losing in this playoff run. And that's something. That's something. We're playing our best football right now. I believe NDSU is as well. I just think our best is better.
This is going to sound like a very vanilla question, but I want you guys to think about it. And it's kind of the last thing. I've been stewing on this, and I've asked several people, but deep down, what would winning a national championship mean to you personally?
I don't even know if I can put that into words. This isn't like being a Rams fan or a St. Louis Blues fan when they won the Stanley Cup a few years ago. Like, this is like my community. Like, this is like part of who I am. My identity as a Montana State alumni, spending so much time in Bozeman, so many Saturdays in Bobcat Stadium. It's a whole different level. It would mean everything.
It's what makes college sports, in my opinion, so much more special than a lot of professional sports.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up in a town like most people I had one professional sports team, and I didn't really care a ton about them growing up in Portland. I've always more identified with college sports, where my grandparents went to school, where my parents went to school, where I now go to school, where I hope my kids go to school one day. This would mean a ton. I shed a tear hugging my dad at the 50-yard line, just bear hugging each other at the 50-yard line when we won that semifinal game, and all the moments of games. I've been to 12 Bobcat games this year, and just road tripping with him to Idaho State, going to so many things. It's just family, man. This just will mean so much.
Yeah, I can't put into words what it would mean to me. You're lucky if one of your teams gets to win the pinnacle of their sport
once in your
World
lifetime.
Series. Yeah.
You're lucky if they
Super
go.
Bowl.
Yeah, right. You're lucky
For some people, you're lucky to even make it to that level.
It's amazing. All right. Bobcat Nation is up. Let's see here.
You're going to interrupt your heartwarming what it means to you.
I do. I'm kind of at a loss for words, because if it does happen, I will be even at a more loss for words. I'll probably be emotional, to be honest with you. It will be such a thing that it feels surreal, and then what a high, right? I kept thinking this whole week about Ryan, you and I sitting there watching the game in 2021, and just the pit in my stomach as the game went on, after Tommy went off, and then we were just getting kind of cooked through that game. And then my eyes kept just traveling over to the side where the Bison were sitting, and they were having so much fun. And even the Bison fans next to us, but they didn't even feel like it was something special. Like, the guys next to us were like, this is fun. But they were just making dinner reservations during the game. And when it finished, they're like, all right, we won, but we've won 8 before. And, good for them. Like, if that's a normal feeling, like, that is completely blessed. It's not for us. We haven't been there. We were there. 84, I was born, but I was like 2, right? 76, I wasn't there yet. It just feels so huge, and it feels monumental, because the question is, can we get over that hump? It almost feels like the dam that just needs to break, because if it does, it feels like then we're just going to continue to have a couple at this point. That's the way it feels right now. I don't know what happens in the future. No one could predict where we're going to go. That's all out in front of us. But it feels like if this dam gets, if we can surpass this moment, then the floodgates feel like they could be open for more and more and more. It feels huge to me. Huge.
If NDSU wins this game, it's status quo for them. Cam Miller and a couple players will probably go down and be remembered. Oh yeah, they were on the 24 team. If Montana State wins this game, every player who started or was a contributor in this game or contributor throughout the season,
build a statue for all of them.
Well, yeah. everybody will remember him.
Exactly.
Everybody will. They will be so remembered. They'll be so beloved. And there's a lot of players that will be, just like the 21 team that people will remember. People still will remember Troy Anderson and Daniel Hardy. But if this team wins this title, I mean, how many of the 84 players are still brought back and remembered and, revered? And they deserve it. But I want that for this group. I want that for Brody Grebe. I want that for RnR.
Yeah.
For Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a special thing. It really is. And it really, a point I wanted to make is it seems in the current landscape where teams are always trying to reshuffle, remake the identity of their team. This team has stayed steady, largely due to how Montana State is being run under Coach Fegan. We haven't had to remake our team through the transfer portal, been able to develop our young guys and keep them in large part. And that just feels special. And there's only a couple programs, North Dakota State being another one, that feels similar. I can't even say the same for Montana across the divide. They feel like they're more trying to put together things every year with losses and dipping more into the portal. So to me, this feels more special. I really, like you said, the Brody Grebes of the world, all those Montana players that you mentioned, it'd be so special. And to have like 46 guys on the roster that are from Montana, it just proves to me that that formula works. And those guys deserve this championship. They're 15-0. It's time to go take it. And I think that's what when you see Coach Fegan talking today, when you saw Tommy Malott, Rylan Ort, they're not hoping. They're there to capture the moment. They have something to prove. This coach said we are wired different than when we were in 2021. We are better equipped mentally and physically. It's our time. Let's go take it. It's out there for the taking. Let's go kick some ass and take it. Let's go become national champions 2024 Montana State. That's where I'm at.
Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose.
Yeah.
Dang. All right, let's go play. I like that pregame speech.
Yeah, I'm ready. Put me in, coach.
Bobcat Bill. Bobcat Bill.
Helmet. Slap that Bobcat.
I like that. All right. Can we talk Golden Coolidge now?
Absolutely.
I was getting too much of the feels right there.
That was a lot of Vim. I'm ready to go.
A lot of him. Okay, let's see. Appreciate the people who are just naturally on Mondays started throwing these out there. Love that. You guys are the best. Let's see. Run the Ball says, here's a big picture question.
Good name.
It looks like the national level student athletes are going to become employees of the university. Why wouldn't all the schools, make their players sign a non-compete contract? The athletes want to play by employee rules. Then they need to play by all of them. In a business world, higher level jobs do this to keep their employee from going for the competition. Shouldn't schools start to do the same?
My brain hurts trying to wrap
Can we do
my
that
head
for an
around.
off-season? That's an off-season question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm too tired.
I won't really answer it, but I'll just respond with this. One of the things that I think makes this so special, and fully as an Ohio State fan, you can talk to this too. At this level and what we have and all the Montana players we have on the team, Oregon is undefeated right now, and there's probably like 5 guys from the state of Oregon on that team.
Yeah.
They're from all over the United States, and that's cool, and they're undefeated, and they got the money, and they can do that, and there's still some school pride there. At this level, at Montana State, at Idaho, at North Dakota State, you're going to have the kid from Melstone, Montana, or Dillon, Montana on your team who is going to make a difference. And that's going to just mean so much more to that community. If Oregon wins a national title, some small town in Oregon, sure, they'll be happy and stuff like that. If Montana State wins a national title with guys from small towns, that's it, in my heart and what I believe and what I think of, and little old school college football. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
I understand players can get paid. The Bobcat Collective does an awesome job. We need to help our people. We need to do some stuff, and they do a fantastic job helping our people, and I love it. But I also love how we have such regionality at this level, and we have so many guys from the region. My brain also hurts from all the other stuff. I have no idea. I'm not smart enough to figure out contracts or anything else. Or make a
Especially
take
not
on
it.
All right, I'll give you a couple quick hitters. If run the damn ball again, or excuse me, run the ball. I put damn in there.
It naturally comes out.
Yeah.
It belongs.
Yeah. If you could pick, so he gives us a easier question. He just asked that previous question. If you could pick where the next championship was going to be played, where would you pick?
Vegas.
Yeah, it'd be a good time.
It's easy to get to. It's cheap to get to. Vegas won't care about it, but I don't care about Vegas not caring about it.
I care about me having a good time.
I care about people having a good time and people be able to get there affordably and cheaply. And
I like Arizona too. If you give me Phoenix, big Phoenix guy myself.
I could see Phoenix, just somewhere that has like good temperatures, guaranteed.
I know
good
Foley would say San Diego is his favorite place on earth.
Yeah,
Better than a
it
Bozeman
crossed my
game day.
brain, but Vegas is easier to get to. I'd probably go Vegas. Actually, that seems like a kind of a fun thing to do.
Did Vegas put in a bid for the temporary that Nashville won? I think they did.
I have no idea.
I thought they did.
Not quite a golden coolie question from Smith427. It says, but are you guys going to have Cult of Nuanez for pregame championship episode like 2021? No, we punted and we went with Zach Levere this time.
You want me to use some colorful language? I'm up for it.
D Brew MSU says, this is from my girlfriend, Sarah. She wants to know, who do you guys think will replace Tommy? Chance, Reed, Duchesne, Buchanan, Grand Vegan. Who do you guys think?
Chance Wilson.
Coaching staff seems very high on Chance Wilson, and we haven't seen him really roll with the ones yet. So I think he'll get the nod.
Speaking of Coulter Nuanez, he did pop into that conversation.
Yeah, River Warren out of nowhere.
Yeah, River Warren.
Which would be amazing.
Yeah,
if River Warren comes in as a true freshman, wins a job, it's
a whoa factor.
That's not a down. That's not a knock on Chance Wilson. That's like River Warren must be really good.
Yeah. I'm going to go Chance at this moment.
Yeah.
Missoula Cat fan says, yes or no, the Lady of the Rockies statue should be replaced with the even bigger statue of Tommy.
Agreed. Yes. Bye. Whatever.
Oh, man, that's so good.
Give me the biggest statue of Tommy Malott you can possibly get.
That made me laugh so hard.
That's good.
Let's see. Gosh, that's such a good one. I'm rolling down second page.
What a statue of Brody Grebe riding a bison with a cowboy hat on.
Yes.
Just like as you enter Melstone.
What? I honestly had never been to Melstone.
I don't think a lot of people have been to Melstone.
I've been to Roundup.
BF Cat fan says, question, are you guys going to Frisco? We are. Already contacted you, BF Cat fan. Actually sent you a golden coolie today. It's in the mail. I'm not sure if it's going to get to you by that time, but keep your eyes peeled for that. Cage Rage. Yes, fully.
Yeah.
What about the turf degree made you choose MSU initially? I put in some other thread. When I first went to Montana State, I went for turf grass agronomy. And to answer Cage Rage's question is, I wanted to be a head grounds crew keeper of a Major League Baseball field. That was my dream. I wanted to run, a professional baseball field. That was actually what I wanted to do. But the guy that was holding up the program basically retired my sophomore year, and it dissolved. So long story short, I became a math teacher. There you go. Over under, he says, Cage Rage 210 passing yards to win the game.
I think under to win. Yeah. 210 wins it, I think.
Yeah. Unless we're desperate.
Yeah, unless we're in comeback mode.
Liquid 360 says buy or sell a vegan is staying. Nothing is stopping the Cats from winning by more than 3 touchdowns. Oh,
Bye.
I mean, the Bison are standing in the way of winning by 3 touchdowns. I think it's possible.
Zach,
It's
gosh.
possible.
Question for Zach specifically. Can we avalanche the Bison?
Yes,
See, I don't think so.
I think we can.
They're not a team that can be
So we can win it.
avalanched.
We can win, and it doesn't have to be close.
They're like South Dakota. They're just like team. There's just some teams like Montana State. Like no one's gonna avalanche Montana State. Foley ran into an error initializing the session for recording. He just dropped his mic and
Just
banged all
finished.
over the place. I got an error on my recording
Just
software.
finished.
Is he back?
All right, Bobcat fans. That was my fault. I karate chopped my microphone and mayhem broke. So here we go.
Play some hold music when I
it
edit
It
this or
just
something.
swept the leg of this podcast.
Strike hard, strike fast, strike first.
You
Ryan
You
Foley.
tried to Robbie Howkett.
Okay. Oh, let's see. Colorado Cat says, which game is your favorite this season?
I think Idaho Part 2 is my favorite.
I'm going to say Idaho Part 1
I'm with you, Zach. Idaho Part 1, man.
because I was at Idaho Part 1, and that's the best crowd I've seen in the stadium.
That's a solid choice.
There was definitely the revenge factor during that game. And for me, it was personal because that was the game I was at last. And I had such a terrible time in Moscow in the Kibbie Dome. Cataloged thoroughly on this podcast. I wanted revenge so bad. And when we waxed those guys, it felt so good.
Idaho Part 2 was great too because we got to silence everything about them not being healthy.
Yeah, there's
And
a whole
then-
bunch of chatter about we got our guy back. There's a whole different thing.
Team.
Montana State doesn't want Idaho again. I can guarantee that. I always responded like, sure we do. I don't know.
And then
It felt really
then we beat them
gratifying
so bad their
to win
coach
that one.
left.
Yeah. Their coach quit.
The coach quit and half their
And
team
the
entered
team-
the portal.
whole team went in
It's
the portal.
Great.
Their season just collapsed. Absolutely fell apart. That felt kind of good to be the catalyst of that.
Roger Fisher wants us to respond to what's one thing that we're confident about and what's one thing that makes us nervous.
Confident in our offense. I'm not as confident in our rushing defense specifically, I guess. If I had to
I'm
pick
worried
something, I guess.
I'm worried about our secondary with these wide receivers.
Yeah. Thorny's answer perplexed me because I think out of the 4 teams that were left in the semifinals, South Dakota, the team we just beat, had the best running backs in Pierre and Tice, and we bottled them up really well. I mean, they both had touchdowns, but that was it. That was it. They weren't matriculating the ball down the field at all against us. I'm with you, Zach. I'm thinking Cam Miller, Bryce, Lance thing could be something I'm concerned about. The thing I'm confident about. I just feel like we have a killer instinct this year, guys. There's something about this confidence between Coach Vegan and the seniors that I think we're just going to get it done.
My confidence is this is the last time we're going to see Tommy Mott suit up in a Bobcat jersey and helmet.
Ooh.
And that's going to hit hard, and it ain't going out bad.
Ooh. You're right, buddy.
He's going to make those plays. He's going to get that 3rd and 1. He's going to get that 3rd and 2. He's going to lay it all out in the line. I mean, I saw how much pain was on his face in 21 that he couldn't finish that game.
Yeah.
He's fought and clawed for this opportunity to get back here and cement his spot.
Game time for him. First post, Rick Evilo. I hope I said that right. Rick Evelo, number 1. Still love the show. Thanks for all you do. Thanks, buddy. He says, with all the success Leon Costello has had in his contract is up in June 2025, Does he move on to a bigger program?
Nope.
Why
Hope
not? Yeah, why not?
He's got young, again, not to the vegan level, but he's got young kids. He's got a family who seems to love it here. He seems to really have built something. One of the things that I think about too is when he first got the job, he put out that 20-year vision. And if you remember when all that stuff came out, that video was like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of development. That's a lot of things to do. I think he has a master plan to see a lot of things out at Montana State. I think he wants to elevate these programs and build a culture here. And he's built so much. I don't think he gives that up. He's got an indoor facility that he wants to cut a ribbon on. He's got other things in the works, I'm sure. I think he's in it for the long haul here.
Do you think a changing of presidents changes that?
If we hire a bad one, yes. Yeah, well, it depends on who the president is, but the thing is if Vegan were to leave, and when Sprinkle left, it stunk and things stink, but I just have so much current faith in our current athletic department. That's what would terrify me. If you hear Leon Costello goes somewhere else, lose sleep at night.
Correct.
That's the thing that would terrify me the most.
He's been there for what? A decade?
16, 17? 8,
Is it
9
that
years?
long? Yeah, I mean, he's been there a while. I don't know. If you are a guy who wants to be a builder, there's a lot to build on at Montana State.
It's a lot of momentum.
It's a lot of momentum, and you can craft it and you can build it. And I think that's really enticing to a lot of people. You go to a bigger program that already has a lot of stuff in place. How much more building is there? I mean, there's always building, obviously, but I don't know, there's a lot you can do at Montana State. There's a lot you can mold, and he's seen a lot of that through already. And I think there's a lot more he can do. I think he stays past 2025.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be shocked if he doesn't. Will lose sleep over it? Yes. Unfortunately.
When we were at the game, UT Martin, there was a moment where I was standing up there and I was thinking about like just the state of Montana State athletics, and it's a great place to be right now.
It's great.
Leon
to be a Bobcat.
Costello, yeah, Coach Vegan, just those two came up in my brain. I'm like, how much better would it get for these guys? I'm not talking monetarily, but just in general, life in general. How much better would it get for them to move on from this place? And I had a hard time thinking that it would get that much better because they are beloved. They have all the momentum right now in the world. And it's just something special to be a part of. And maybe they don't feel like that because like we do, because Ryan and I, you, your dad, a lot of people we know, we're Bobcats. Like, and that's just something that was there before I knew about Leon Costello, before Coach Vegan. Like, I've been Bobcats longer than they've been.
And a lot of us are, Montanans. Like,
yeah.
So of course we have a huge affinity for Montana. We're a little biased towards
so maybe
the state
it means
in general.
more to us intrinsically in our hearts because we're like, of course, this is exactly where I want to be. This is part of my fabric. Do they feel that? I think they probably do at this point. If they put that much blood, sweat, and tears into this program, why would you want to leave? I mean, yeah, money is going to be the answer. Is it enough to pull you away from this? Can you get enough money? Can you see it, the future, and say, okay, stick it out 5-10 more years, and maybe I do have that bankroll coming in. I'm not sure, man. It's something I think about all the time. That's a great question.
It's not a lot of better places, and again, I'm biased, but you can look at magazines of top places to live. You can see how many people have moved here in the past couple of years. There's not a lot of better places to live than Bozeman, Montana. It's pretty awesome here.
Yeah.
It's a great place to live.
If they continue to stay, though, they need to be compensated in such that they deserve.
1,000%.
Yeah. All right.
We can't keep getting away with, well, I hope they like the community and the players and what we have going here. We have to sack up when it comes to financial support for our coaches and athletic department.
Is that a border regions thing? Is that a Montana thing?
I want to say I don't know, but I want to say it's like Montana legislature thing. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, guys, that's all on the Bobcat Nation. Roger Fisher did ask his question about what song would be played next year in Nashville. We don't have a good answer for you, Roger. That's a great question. We gained quite a few responses on the Golden Coulee page, but if we run into something, I guess we'll figure it out when we figure it out.
Bobcat Dell has the best response. Why do we need something other than Moni Moni in the first place? It's a great question. We don't.
Because it's not about the Grizzlies when we win then when we're going to the national championship. That's why.
I still want to tell him to eat poop.
Yeah, but it just feels a little bit out
It's
of
our
place.
party song a little bit,
It's our
though.
party song.
Yeah.
It's like our victory cry.
Yeah.
We get to celebrate a victory and taunt our rival at the same time.
Texas and Texas A&M both have lines in their fight song about beating the other team.
That's nice.
Yeah, because they care
Appreciate
about
that.
each other.
I really do. I like that. I like that. All right, guys.
Parting words.
It's our year, man. It's all coming up, Bobcats.
I love that. It's coming up, Bobcats. Hey, win or lose, it's been one hell of a year. It has been so much fun.
Yeah.
15-0 does not happen ever for us.
No.
There's been so much crap over the last 20, 30 years. There's a winless season in there, a 15-year streak to the Grizzlies since last time we won a national title. There's a lot of not great things about being a Bobcat fan. This year has been so much fun. Talking with you guys, talking with friends, talking with family, talking with classmates, going to school at MSU. It's everything. Enjoy it.
Love
Coach
it.
Vegan said today, he said, this is where we want to be. To me, that had two meanings. It means Frisco, national championship, the Bobcats, but also mean to me that Coach Vegan and his family wants to be here in Bozeman, part of this institution. I thought that was comforting to me. And this is exactly where I want to be too. I want to be doing this podcast, talking about us going to the national championship. And I want this conversation to continue when I see all of you guys in Dallas, in Frisco, in this weekend. And I can't wait for that, man, because that's the fun part. That's the thing I remember most. I actually don't remember the game as much as just sitting down and talking with all the Bobcat fans and meeting all the people we get to talk to. There's so many people like you, Zach, that I met, and I can name probably 5 other guys right now who I now continue to be in contact with on a weekly basis when it's the season because of that game and because of this forum that we have right here. So this is where I want to be.
All right. Anything else, boys?
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats. All right. Well, let's thank everyone for listening. Thanks again to our sponsors for sponsoring us for a lot of podcasting this year because we keep on winning football games. Love that bonus advertising. Excuse me. So start coughing. You can always find us on Twitter, RrCatCast. You can always find us on the web, rrcatcast.com. You will find us in Frisco, Texas this weekend. Reach out to us. We'll make it happen. We'll meet up with some people. Maybe, Fully, I was thinking we could maybe schedule a time where we're in our little hotel lobby. I don't know. We could figure out something. A little meetup. We'll figure something out. Reach out to us. We'd love to meet you, hang out, tailgates, whatever. Let's get out here, guys. Let's go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.